The stock is trading about 50 times its current year earnings outlook. That's a pretty high multiple.
It's the fast-growing fintech company with a constant looming question, is it too expensive?
That kind of multiple is pricing in a significant amount of growth.
It was one of the best performing stocks on the market last year, but SoFi has seen some volatility this year. Now a turnaround in March has investors hoping for the next big run-up.
There is a significant amount of growth forecast for this company.
Is SoFi still overpriced or a bargain buy after this late March drop? Let's dive in. So Thomas, let's get right into SoFi's stock chart. There's been a lot of movement on this stock. It had such great momentum in 2024 and even at the start of 2025 too.
Yeah, there was a lot of expectation coming into the latest earnings report that was released in late January. I think the market was really buying into that, sent the stock to a new high. The report was strong, the outlook is good, but the strength was expected, so it didn't really provide a catalyst for new buyers. Since then, the stock price has pulled back. We've had some short interest pile into it a little bit, aiding the pullback, aiding the volatility. So we may have a little bit of volatility and sideways movement as we go forward. But I do think ultimately the trajectory for this stock will be upward.
I think a lot of SoFi investors, especially those long-term in this company, would agree with you there. And we're going to dive into a few of those things that you mentioned coming up in this video. We're going to talk about that short interest, talk about where the price sits right now and whether it's a good entry point to get in. I want to start our conversation today, Thomas, talking about why there was so much momentum in this company. What are the good things going on that got investors so excited?
Well, right. The company has been working very hard over the last year or two to expand its services. It's been making some new partnerships to expand its ability to offer services. It's been focusing on expanding its loans, its banking services, and its investment products. The latest earnings report was very good because revenue grew 25%. It was more than expected, driven by a 34% increase in new clients, which is a leading indicator. So client growth is growing faster than revenue growth. But also within that, 40% of the new clients all bought a second product within 30 days. That just shows that not only are people using the platform, but they like it and they're coming back to use more products. And that provides a pretty strong tailwind for revenue, earnings, and growth over the coming years.
Yeah, returning customers is always a very good sign of growth for any company. Let's talk about what makes SoFi's platform different. Why are customers coming back to this company and enjoying the products it offers?
Well, it's all digital. There's no physical locations. Everything's offered on a unified platform. It's easy to get to, it's easy to use. The rates are very competitive. So it really offers a lot of bonuses for consumers.
Absolutely. I think that all digital is why people really like this financial technology company even more than a bank. And it's why a lot of the younger generation was drawn to SoFi right away. When this company first launched, it was really known for its student loan business. Is that still a big part of this company?
It is still a big part of this company, and I think it will continue to be a driving force for it as we move forward. I've seen a lot of chatter about with the Department of Education being disbanded, there's going to be opportunities for the business to perhaps manage existing loans. More market share could come towards private lenders. So it's a factor that we're going to want to watch as we move forward.
Yeah, speaking of the economy right now, a company that does personal loans in an economy like we're seeing right now, what kind of impact could that have on SoFi's business, especially the personal loan category?
There is a lot of uncertainty in the economy right now. We're really not sure what's going to happen, but the fundamentals are still pretty solid. Labor markets are still strong, wages are still growing. So I would expect to see SoFi's business to continues to grow strongly. There may be some headwinds in certain segments, but generally speaking, the business should remain pretty stable. And within that, there are some possible catalysts. If and when the Fed finally does lower rates significantly, it should unlock the housing market, and that should be a big boom for the mortgage business.
Yeah, let's talk about SoFi's diversification. They offer quite a few products, and they're even starting to expand beyond that personal banking as well.
Right. I mean, you look on their website now, and they've got products in all the major categories. They've got student loans, personal loans, auto and home loans. There's banking products, investment products, insurance products. And as you were saying, they're also providing services for other financial institutions. So they've got a loan origination business. So they're connecting borrowers with other lenders. And those are all good for the business.
Yeah, having those different revenue streams and diversifying what they offer is good news for investors on the future of this company, no matter what happens in the economy. Let's get into kind of what is a fair value for this company. That's been a big discussion among investors because it started really high, as so many new companies do, and then kind of just sat around that $6 to $8 range for a couple of years on the market. Now that it's trading in the teens again, it's good news for investors, but are we at that fair market value price yet? Or what is the fair price for this stock?
Saying what the fair price is pretty difficult, and that's why there's going to be volatility in the market. That's why the short interest has picked up as the stock price moved higher. So right now, today, the stock is trading about 50 times its current year earnings outlook. That's a pretty high multiple. That kind of multiple is pricing in a significant amount of growth. There is a significant amount of growth forecast for this company. It should sustain a hyper growth pace for EPS over the next 10 years. So looking forward at 2035, it's only trading at 8 times its earnings outlook. And that is a deep value considering that most banks today are trading in the 12 to 16 times earnings range. So it could possibly double in price over the next couple of years, 10 years. But more than that, with the earnings growth in the picture and potential for outperformance, if these estimates are too low, the valuation is even deeper than it appears to be now.
Let's talk about what analysts are saying, Thomas. Where do they think this stock is going to go by the end of the year?
Well, the analysts are pretty bullish. We've got 16 analysts tracking the stock, recorded by MarketBeat. They rate it as a consensus of moderate buy. There's a bullish bias with some recent sentiment upgrades. The price target assumes fair value at the current price points, but it is rising with the most recent targets leading to the high-end range. So right now, what we have are analysts supporting the market. They're leading it higher, but not significantly higher than where it is, but they are very supportive.
So analysts are bullish on this stock. What about the institutions? What are their thoughts on SoFi?
Yeah, the institutions are also pretty bullish. Their total ownership is still fairly low, about 40%, but it's been rising. The buying volume has been ramping higher in recent quarters, and it hit a high in Q1. So that is another bullish factor for the market and a tailwind for the stock price.
Now let's get into kind of the long-term versus short-term investors for SoFi. It seems like there's a good amount of short interest on this stock with all these ups and downs that we've seen in just the last few weeks. I'm sure there's a lot of trader interest in SoFi as well.
Right now, the short interest is about 13%. With the stock price still under pressure, you might assume that it has risen since the last report. Um, Regardless, with the shorts in the market, that's going to create volatility. So if we don't have a downward moving stock price, we'll have a sideways moving stock price. Any rallies will probably be met by sellers and get capped. The opportunity is that we have a short covering rally or a short squeeze, but that would take another significant news event, and that might not come until the next earnings report or later on in the year.
So there is some significant short interest on this company. Why do you think that is? Why are so many investors interested in SoFi right now? In fact, we're actually doing this video today because we had so many of our viewers ask us to talk about SoFi. What is it about this company that has investors excited?
Well, I mean, it's a fintech, it's a bank, it's generating cash flow, it's got a positive growth outlook, it's advancing technology. There really are a lot of things going for it. Um, with the short interest, we had to expect there to be some volatility, but the long-term trajectory for this company should be upward based on the fundamentals and the outlook for the business right now.
I think you're right. That potential for explosive growth in this company is what has so many investors excited about SoFi. If you are one of those growth investors always looking for the next big opportunity, check out our latest free premium report on the next 7 blockbuster stocks for growth investors. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the description of this video to get that free report on MarketBeat.com right now. Yeah, let's end this discussion today talking to those who are long-term on SoFi, who actually believe in a strong future ahead for this company. What can you expect with a newer institution like this? A lot of the bank stocks out there have been there forever, and they don't have quite the volatility that we're seeing in this company in its early stages. How long before this is a company that has kind of a more solid trajectory instead of so many ups and downs?
So my final thought on SoFi is it's a very interesting company. It's got a lot going for it. The diversification is a great move. It's going to help reduce that volatility over time because the business will be more even, less dependent on any one segment of the market. And I just think for long-term investors, just to try to detach yourself from the news flow because that's going to induce the volatility. Wait for the price dips and buy it when it's down.
Some good advice, Thomas. Thanks for the discussion on SoFi today. Let us know what you think about this company. Are you in on SoFi? Are you waiting for a lower entry point? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. And as always, happy investing.